Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nonstop Steph, and with the NFL start right around the corner, I think it's time we go ahead and do a top 10 quarterback list coming into the 2023 season. No big intro. Of course, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Let's get right into the honorable mentions because when I made this list, I struggled in trying to pick around that 9-10 spot because there was a bunch of guys who I really want to get in this video. So I just got to mention them as honorable mentions. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and do Derek Carr. In my opinion, he's going to have a fantastic season. I think he's got a lot to prove, and he's going to prove a lot of doubters wrong. I don't think he liked the way that the season ended with the Raiders, and I'm actually looking forward to see how he's actually going to play with the Saints this upcoming season. The reason why I can't put him in the top 10 is because, like my next honorable mention, they can tell you coming into a new team, it's very, very hard to just do great like you've done in the past. So I don't know that he's going to be able to do as good as I think he will, but I believe that he will. But my top 10, I do feel a lot stronger about and more confident that they will do what they're going to do. But my other honorable mention would be a guy like Russell Wilson. I do believe that I can't ignore how great of a career he's had. Obviously, last year was bad and pretty much an anomaly. I'm hoping that he's able to get it on track, but I can't put him in the top 10 list. However, if he can return to similar play as to what he had been doing or just get back onto that kind of pace, keep in mind he's been in a number of MVP races, although he's never received a vote. He's always been near the top tier quarterbacks throughout his career. So I want to see if he can actually get right back to that and find himself in the top 10. But I do have to mention Jared Goff because I think he ended last season fan-freaking-tastic. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on the honorable mentions, but when you win 8 of the last 10 of your regular season, especially the way that he was actually playing, I think that's just it says a lot about him and the abilities that he has because he's slept on. We don't talk about Jared Goff enough, especially because of how obviously his time with the Rams went. So the only other one that I really want to talk about would be Geno Smith. I couldn't get him into my top 10, but he is, again, in my opinion, someone who could be right there on the bubble of being a top 10 quarterback coming into this year. If he can just build on what he did last year, first year as a starter, and to play as great as he did, considering the fact that you've got DK, you've got Tyler Lockett, I think he might be able to crack that top 10 by the end of the season. Now, let's get right into the real top 10 now.
Options with the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
I've got Trevor Lawrence. Look, the numbers speak for themselves. He was clearly the driving force in that last 7-game stretch where they were able to push to make the playoffs, because before that 7-game stretch, the last 7 games, he and the Jags had no chance of making the playoffs, but he was the driving factor. In that 7 games, he threw for a 12-2 touchdown interception ratio while putting up just amazing numbers. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Just know that if you watched and paid attention to how they actually played to end the season was amazing. And then also going into the first round of the playoffs, yes, he had that terrible first half against the Chargers, but again, he bounced back there in the second half, go ahead and lead a charge to actually win that game. And then, of course, he inevitably lost to Patrick Mahomes in the next round. But nonetheless, I still think that if he can come in with similar play to how he ended the season, he's going to be able to make his claim at a stake at the number 10 position for quarterbacks.
With the 9th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
we've got Tua Tagovailoa. Look, I'm not going to go through every single number that you can spitball for Tua because I'm sure you've probably heard it, but when you are ranking that high as an offense, when you are on the field because of the connection that you have with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I just feel like you've got to mention New in this top 10 quarterback list. They play phenomenal when he's there. As long as he can stay healthy, he might be able to go in and prove that he should be even higher than the number 9 spot. I've got big hopes for what they're able to do this upcoming year. And I see no reason to think that they won't be able to make a playoff push because I don't expect for them to go out the exact same way that they went out this past year.
With the 8th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
I've got Dak Prescott. And I admit, I understand the reasons why someone might not have him up there because obviously the 15 interceptions this past year was a high total for him, and in my opinion, it's an anomaly. I'm not going to expect for him to come into this upcoming season and repeat that kind of business. In my opinion, if you look at the year prior where he threw 37 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, that same year Patrick Mahomes threw for the same number of touchdowns while throwing more interceptions, and we didn't slay him for that, right? Because we understand how great Patrick Mahomes So like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and look at Dak Prescott and say, whoa, last year he had a bad year and take him out of this list. So if you were to go back to the year prior, you would not have taken Patrick Mahomes out of the list. So I'm not going to go ahead and do that to Dak. I have full confidence that he's going to be able to come in and he's going to play smarter, play safer. And he knows, similar to a lot of the other quarterbacks that I've mentioned, he feels as if he's got a lot to prove this year because he hears all the slack. He says all the right things. Today, now, this upcoming season, it's time to put your money where the mouth is and go out there and play some ball, right?
With the 7th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
I've got Lamar Jackson, and I'm doing this solely on faith and my trust and belief in Lamar Jackson because his MVP season, when he has been doing this, the vout of all the weapons that many of the others on this list have, to have OBJ, I think that he's going to be able to push his game to another level now that he has an outside presence that will require attention. Now, how much attention we will see, because the more that he does get the ball out there, the more attention that will go out there as well, and that will open up better lanes for his running game as well. So I think that the real question is going to be more along his receivers on the outside. Will they be able to win the one-on-one matchups? Because I can guarantee you, with the effectiveness and the fear of giving open lanes to Lamar Jackson, there will be one-on-one coverage. Assuming that they are able to win their one-on-one matchups, then I think that we might be able to see one of the, if not the best year of Lamar Jackson's career this upcoming year. Whether he wins MVP again or not is up to, we'll see what happens. I think what we're going to see from Lamar Jackson this year is going to be incredible. So keep your eyes open and be ready to watch some greatness this year.
with the 6th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
I've got Justin Herbert. And I think there's no other player where you could say the numbers speak for themselves more than Justin Herbert. I mean, coming into his rookie season, throwing for over 4,000 yards. The following season, another 5,000 yards on top of it. Then, of course, last year, 4,700 yards. I mean, that's just incredible, especially at his young age, to do it in a league, especially in a conference as competitive as theirs is. And then you consider the accuracy that he throws it with a career percentage of about 67% completion. And if you actually are just watching the games, it's not like he's just dipping and dunking. I mean, he's getting the ball downfield to his receivers, whether it's can't guard Mike. Of course, you've got Keenan Allen out there. And a lot of times, he doesn't have both of his receivers out there due to injury. So he's doing it with a team that is always having some level of an injury. And I think that's the only thing that's kept the Chargers out of being in the forefront of our minds when we consider the best possible teams coming into any season. Most of the time, we do not have the faith in the Chargers because there's always something. So I think that this year, assuming that nothing happens, why would I now all of a sudden start to doubt him? I believe that he might be able to even crack into the top 5, but he just rounds out. He's just going to be on the outside of it, and I'm looking at him at number 6.
with the 5th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
Got Jalen Hurts. So I will admit that when I made this list, when I thought of the idea of the video, I initially had Jalen Hurts way up there. Then the more I kept thinking about it, I'm like, oh, no, I got this guy. Oh, no, I got this guy. So I hate putting Jalen Hurts at number 5. I'm going to be honest. But I will say I just need to see more out of him as a passer. So, again, if you speak to anybody that knows me on a personal level, I have told them multiple times that the individual play of Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl this past year might be the best individual play from any player I might have ever seen in any single game. I mean, the throws were on point. The running game was unstoppable. He made plays when they couldn't, just needed them most. There was that one 4th down, I think it was 4th and 8 maybe or something like that. Towards the end, they need this 1st down so badly. What do they call up? They call up a quarterback draw. Where they do that at? I mean, my goodness. And then what's he do? He gets the 1st. I mean, that's just crazy in my opinion. So there's just so much upside to this guy's game. It's painful to put him at the number 5 slot because I really, really like what he was able to do this past season, and I really, really think he's going to be able to do this again. But it's hard for me to put him into the top 4. I think the top 4 does have just the next level passing game. Not to say that Jalen Hurts cannot be this. He just has not shown that he is this yet. So I can't put him above the next 4, solely just in faith that I think these other 4 will be able to outplay him solely just in the passing game. So
with the 4th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
I've got Josh Allen, right? So there's probably no other quarterback on this list who likes to display and show off his talent and his capabilities more than Josh Allen. I think that when you compare him to every other player on this list, he knows he's got a rocket for an arm. He knows that when he runs, you have to pay attention to him. He knows his effectiveness and all of the things that he can do. Now, the only thing I think he needs to do is reel it back. You've shown it and you've proved it, and I believe that this year he will reel it back. We know that you've got a rocket for an arm. I think that when you look at his interceptions, when you look at 14 this past year, a lot of those ones, if when you're watching, a lot of those ones might have been through his own mistakes. Now, there have been a couple of them that were through drop passes and whatnot, but again, I think that he does not need to show us he has that kind of arm. We already fear it. If you're an NFL defensive coordinator, you're scared. How do you prepare for a Josh Allen? How do you prepare for the things that he's able to do and just the way that all the different ways that he and that offense can beat you? So I think that this upcoming year, he might reel it back, play just a hair bit safer, just a hair. Doesn't have to do anything crazy. Just if he can reel it back a little bit, I think he's going to show us that he does deserve to be that number 4 position on this list, especially when you take into consideration how he started this past season. And just in case you don't remember how he started this past season, I'll remind you. In the first 6 games, they went 5-1. Who were the best teams that they beat during that 6-game stretch? Well, they beat Baltimore, but not only that, then they also beat the Chiefs. Not only while doing so, he threw 17 touchdowns while rushing for 2. I mean, the dude was just putting on a clinic during those first 6 weeks. The only game they lost was to Miami. They lost by 2 points. It's not like they got blown out or it wasn't a close game. It was competitive all the way through. And during those games, at that time, you're looking at him and you're thinking he is definitely going to win the MVP. As the year went on, of course, he did tail off for some, obviously some stuff was going on with the Bills. But I do believe that this year he's going to hopefully be able to go through the 17-game season and actually just keep everything under wrap and not just go back out and say, I'm going to show y'all what I got. He doesn't need to. If he could just go in there and do and play a little bit safer, play a little bit smarter, lead this team the way that me and so many others believe that he can verify his position as the number 4 spot. And if not number 4, he might even be able to overcome my number 3 position.
With the 3rd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
I've got Aaron Rodgers. Man, I can't imagine putting Aaron Rodgers anything less than 3, and it was even a struggle thinking that I'd only have him at 3. Aaron Rodgers, with this Jets offense, with what we've seen him do when he's had good receivers around him, with the fact that this guy might be arguably the most talented quarterback we have ever seen throw the ball. This dude has everything. Every throw you want to see him make, he can do it. The back shoulder fades that we've seen throughout his career, no one throws it better. The clutch time, just random Hail Marys, we've never seen someone do it better. You name the kind of pass that's needed, Aaron Rodgers could make it. It's a guarantee that when you watch him, you have full confidence in him throwing the ball. Now, we'll see how well he can click and how well this offense can get going. I have full confidence that with the weapons that they have there, and at a certain point, there might just be too much talent on this roster. When you look at what Aaron Rodgers can and will do, he makes some of the least mistakes in the NFL, hence why he has so little interceptions throughout his career. I wouldn't be surprised if we are looking and talking about the MVP, but it's hard to just assume that he'll be the MVP and win it when you've got 2 guys ahead of him in my list, like
with the 2nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
Joe Burrow. Now, the one thing that I can confidently say that Joe Burrow probably has better than any other player that I've mentioned so far on this list is a connection with his number 1 receiver, Ja'Marr Chase. And when you look at what he does on the field, the throws, the connection that those two have, I believe that when you look at, again, the best wide receiver to quarterback duo in the league, in my opinion, is Joe Burrow. And I see no reason to think that he's not going to be able to do that. But it's not just him and Ja'Marr Chase. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, both are big parts of this offense. And not only that, now that they're bringing back Joe Mixon, we're going to see him still in the mix of things. I just have so much reason to have a lot of faith in Joe Burrow and the way that he leads this team. For me to not put him at number 2 would feel blasphemous, honestly, at this point. I will admit that there will be guys that I have ranked lower than him who will have better numbers than him. But at a certain point, being a quarterback is about leadership first. It's not about who's going to have the most stats, who's going to put up the most passing yards. So looking at Joe Burrow as a leader of this organization, he sets the bar so high. But obviously not as high as our number 1 position. And you guys know who it's going to be.
With the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
Patrick Mahomes. Listen, man, I don't have to spend too much time on Patrick Mahomes, but everything I just got done saying at the end of Joe Burrow, let's spit that right back out, and you've got Patrick Mahomes, the leadership and the stats. It's not just the leadership, it's and the stats. What do you even do to stop Patrick Mahomes? They're playing Ring Around the Rosie. The dude's putting up over 5,000 passing yards twice in his career, 4,800 yards the year prior, over 40 touchdowns. Hell, the year he won MVP, put up 50 touchdowns. I mean, what do you do? How do you stop a guy like this? And when you're looking at this guy year over year, you're wondering that maybe he just had a good year here, maybe he just had a good year there, and every year he just does it again and again and again. Every year he has an argument to be in the MVP conversation, especially the way that he plays. After losing Tyreek Hill, me and many others weren't sure if he was going to be able to do it again. And what did he do? Do it again. This dude's just incredible. It's hard to just contemplate that. We are literally in the moment of NFL history right now where we are seeing some of the best quarterback class that we have ever seen. We've not seen this level of quarterback play. In the past, we've had a couple good ones here at the top, but you can't even go through a top 10 without feeling like you're leaving people off. Versus in the past, yeah, you could have been able to do that. And now when you look at Patrick Mahomes and what he is undoubtedly going to do this year, again, it's just easy to put him at number one. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Y'all know who it is. Come on now. So with all that being said, I appreciate you guys for listening. If you think that I've got somebody wrong anywhere in this list, let me know. Change it up. Let me know. But in my opinion, this is a solid top 10 list. There's a couple others who I did not mention during my honorable mention, but I couldn't. And plus, this video would have been way too long anyway. So like I said, appreciate y'all for listening. And see y'all on the next one. Peace.